Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to thank you and Zoe and Planet Earth and for all your sponsors. It's fantastic to actually recognize poets and poetry in these times when we can't do readings. So it's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish peoples, and I live on Bowen Island. I like to, first of all, I'm going to read from a selection of 4 books that are all published by Ekstasis. And I'm going to start with a book called A Blooming, which is a picture of a woman floating underneath balloons. And it so is like the title, Blooming. Someone said it looked like me. So I'm going to read 2 poems from that book. And I'm going to start with a very short one. The Wanting. Go quietly. Quietly. Don't delay or pray, but open up your heart like a zipper and fall away. Instead, give up the wanting. Let me name you. The sound of glass breaking. Thank you. About light. Parkinson's. I could have died on this road alone, but for the fever of your touch. You pull crusts off my naked loneliness and lessen this wake I drag behind me like a stillborn. You name my doddering illness that hides in a bucket of shame. I'm sorry I forgot to think about light trap, curious curled words clasped in my trembling hands. I hope you will love me despite endings when I didn't die with longing. I didn't even die for your lips to press like wet poppies onto my white waxen face. In the end, we carry nothing but stones and skin knees down to the river. Bruised and broken, we aren't afraid. We teeter onto one another's empty stage, arms suspended like angels before the fall. Thank you. The next book I'm going to read from is Impromptu. And this picture is a graffiti artist's a photograph of graffiti in the States. And it was perfect for what this book is about, because this book is based on writing prompts that I did 47 days in a row last year. And I wrote a book. And so I'm going to read 2 of the prompts from this book for you. The first one I'm going to read is prompt 23. And the prompt was, I'd like to challenge you today to write a poem about any living thing. And so I chose dragonfly. Dragonfly, iridescent and blue, your colors reflect on the tip of my oar. Water streams down the wood and you lightly perch on my wrist. I would trade my skin for your shimmer today. You hover over the lake, gazing at the surface for bugs and a branch to watch out from. I am thrust back to prehistoric times, and I take in your carapace and long insect legs. You have been here since the earth was young. You were a bouquet of purple, red, yellow, blue, flashing and sparkling through the morning mist. Time traveler, you saw what was before. Did not no one gasp in admiration at the glory of your flight? Or your ability to skim the humid air, collecting moisture on your painted wings? I take a picture of you, and you are gone. The still beauty of you remains indelibly stamped on my empty palm. Prompt 39. Describe scene using color and texture. And I wrote it like one of our previous readers did, about the area around Main Street, about the laneways. And it is called 3:30 a.m. in the city after rain. Light in an alley at night is a serious thing. It stretches the shadows and makes fistfuls of colors splash onto the dumpsters that guard and serve. They become dusted with forest green, splendid against the liquid golden street. Saturated with color, in this moment, everything blooms here. Through the tangle of wires, the sky is like a new bruise, purple, magenta, cobalt. The single streetlight drowns its reflection in the puddles that gleam a metallic yellow. The incandescence plays an extravaganza at the secret in-between time. The laneway gleams like the Emerald City. Many hues of gray wait and will soon steal the blush from this painted night. Thank you. And during National Poetry Month this month, in April, I wrote every day and came up with 37 poems. And one of the poems I wrote, let me see, is called The Flaw, which is hopefully the name of my next book. I just finished my 11th book, and it's named after this. This is a glossa. First time reading it, so I hope you can enjoy it too. The Flaw. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That is how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen. Tell of triumphs that lit your heart on fire when you ached, spurred on by thought of skin and silken touch, entwined with mine on this snowy bed where everything is bathed in light so white it shines through window panes. A rose in a cut glass vase stands silent on burnished wood. Cast shadows slim. Beauty is fleeting like summer rain. Ring the bells that still can ring. For if you hear them, you can say, today, before the fire is out, come dance with me to 60s tunes when everything was cool and sweet. We'll dip and rise in summer's eve, pick flowers for our graying hair, gaze on moments of great beauty, drown the fear of flying free before the whole becomes a gaping tear. Forget your perfect offering. If you do, you'll find calm in evening, a broadleaf maple tree in spring, You'll surrender to moonlight's glow and travel past to find the place where your face opens like a door. We must learn to crawl before we start. Remember that. The distance traveled is measured by your sacrifice. Despite the pull on both our hearts, there's a crack in everything. Nothing more than just a tiny fracture on this clean slate we call our lives. We're silver soldered to each other, seeing both the terror and amazement in each other's eyes. When I was young, you gave me this token, an opal ring. I could see the never-ending nature of this living, breathing song. Rise up, open the windows, then just sing. That's how the light gets in. And Leanne, am I finished?
I don't think so. Why don't you read another one? You seem to be pretty warmed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will read you. Oh, Paul's handing more. This one is from this book that just got published this spring called The River Answers. It's a gorgeous picture of an estuary. And this is one of the poems from it. It's called The Beautiful Truth of You. So much pain in me some days that I leak like a rain barrel into ground that is cracked and worn by the fist of loss. How can I soothe this sore heart that relentlessly beats even when I turn my face to the wall, mind caked with grief? Where are you now, my little boy? Do you keep the words close that I spray through the phone? Arrows aimed at the timeless weight of loving. The sky never blinks. She just witnesses the fine threads leading me to the beautiful truth of you. And the poem I'm going to end with is called Reborn. It's the last poem in the book. Rise again. Do not bow down or falter. Ascension isn't a question you ask of the sky. You must own it all, the shadows and the spectacle, before you can fly out of your body into the light. Shrug off your torpid lethargy like a shawl. Come with me to the edge of this liminal space. The first whisper of dawn proclaims the return of color to the long-skirted sky. The path is haloed by mist and damp hues of green and burnished copper. A moving flicker of light opens between us like a drawbridge. Morning paints on the skin of beauty in the hush of second chances. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you. Thanks to all of our feature poets.